Thanks for joining me today. Today, I want to talk about the fact that we need to all quit complaining. Complaining for many people has become a lifestyle. It's become a habit. It's become part and parcel of who we are. But today, I want to encourage someone to quit complaining and start working towards the thing you want to see happen in your life. Sometimes it happens unconsciously, and these things are stored up in the subconscious, and we in those moments of difficulty, of stress, and of discomfort, it just emerges, sometimes consciously and sometimes unconsciously. And in one way or the other, you've been complaining if you're watching me right now. And I want to encourage you, quit complaining and start to work towards the things you want to see happen in your life. The very common thing I see among companies, organizations, is that colleagues or staff in these organizations, they have resigned themselves, many of them, not all, have resigned themselves to the habit of complaining and not working towards achieving the organization's goals, objectives, and not, not, they've resigned to not working towards realizing the aims of these organizations, and they just sit back and complain. And there is one category of people who complain a lot, and these are the people who've been in the organization for so long. Again, not all of them, but there are people who've been so long in those organizations, in those companies, and they feel that they should be getting special treatment. Of course, if you are a founding father, you deserve respect. But you have to remember that there would be young people who would emerge from nowhere sometimes, and they will get elevated very quickly. That doesn't mean that you too should immediately be elevated. Every one of us is given the ability to do things, and people will excel in leadership, others will excel in just following. And if you are a follower, you need to understand your position and understand how important your role is as a follower, and to do the things that will add value to the organization rather than always complaining. And I've watched a lot of young people being maybe demonized sometimes just because they rose so quickly and they became leaders and they became influential, they became a voice among the elders. And this is something that's very common in our African societies, that we don't want to see young people rising. We don't want to see young people taking up positions of leadership. We don't want to see young people breaking those barriers that society has placed there. And we just, the elderly people, just want to feel that they're the ones who are in charge. They're the ones who can control things. They are the ones who can bring about progress. If they're not in charge, then no one else should be in charge. But again, there is a category, or there is a group of young people also who complain a lot. They complain about everything, just as at the point where they're just starting out in an organization. They complain about everything. They complain about their pay, they complain about their boss, they complain about everything. They complain about the fact that they're not getting the benefits, they're not getting better treatment at work. They're not getting everything, and they fail to recognize the things that the organization has worked so hard to put in place for them. And I want to bring this to your attention. If you want to be successful, you have to work towards um, building up yourself to someone who will not always complain, but someone who can recognize the initiative that has been taken, and someone who can not only recognize initiative being taken by others, who can also take initiative and who can recognize the fact that it can sometimes be difficult to make everything just, so smooth for everyone in a particular setting. And so I want to encourage you, quit complaining. If you want promotion, I made a Facebook post and I said, if you want promotion, you need to work yourself towards the promotion. You can't talk yourself towards your promotion. And the reason why I said this is because I've been in a couple of places where people think that it's by talking, in making themselves look important, maybe in the midst of the hierarchy of the organization, that they will then become important, and they will get promotion in that way. And this is what we call eye service. When the boss is around, you're toiling yourself up and you're working hard so the boss can recognize you're working hard. And if the boss doesn't recognize your hard work, sometimes we go up to the boss and we report the things that we've done, not just because these things have been done to add value, but because they were just done because we want the boss to see we did these things, and so we can get promotion. If you've been in an organization for so long and you haven't gotten any promotion, you need to take a step back and look at your results. You need to look at your output. It is your output that will bring, or that will attract promotion, that will attract elevation. You can't get a pay raise until you raise your output, until you raise your standards, until you begin to do things differently among your coworkers. You need to set an example. You need to raise the bar so high such that people can look at you as an example. And you do this consciously. You do this with a lot of effort, and you work day by day towards what you want. I remember a lecturer of mine who used to say back in the day, if you want something, you go get it. You don't sit around whining, complaining. If you want promotion, you need to go get that promotion. And by saying go get it, don't misunderstand me. I'm saying walk yourself towards it. You need to make plans. You need to dream about being promoted, and you need to take steps to work towards it. Okay, you need to put in more hours at work compared to others. If you want to be promoted, you need to not only work hard, but you need to work smart. You need to be smart at the things you do, and you need to add value to your company. You need to add value to your organization, and you need to set a standard, especially when it comes to integrity. A lot of us, we just want promotion, but we don't have integrity. Great leaders are men of integrity, and people who mean what they say and they say what they mean. They're not people who say one thing and then they turn around and do the opposite of the things they have said. And men of integrity are men who add genuine value to the organization. They don't counterfeit their value. They don't just do things that will bring instant gratification. They don't just fall for cheap things. They're people who will stand up and who will resist even the things that will bring about the downfall of the organization. They are people who have foresight. They are people who think ahead. They are not people who only think about the moment, about getting the benefit now, about getting those maybe per diems today, and not even thinking about where the organization should be. There are people who would think about, or who usually think more about the growth of the organization, the growth of the company, the growth of the business, and they think about it to the fact that they're willing and able to sacrifice their time, their intellect. They're able to sacrifice even their energy to labor and toil for the success they want to see happen in the organization. These kinds of people, they simply just quit complaining and they keep working and they keep laboring. And these are the people who get genuine success and they get greater rewards at the end. Complaining sometimes has become inborn. It's so buried inside many of us, and to get rid of that, we need to work hard, and we need to really do a self-assessment and to be very hard to ourselves, and really to get rid of that spirit of complaining. I call it a spirit because once it's in you, it's difficult to get rid of. It contaminates other people around you. You don't want to be that coworker who's always complaining about everything, who's always complaining about how the company isn't providing benefits. You complain about everything. You complain about everything. Even when people are rejoicing about a breakthrough, you still find a reason to complain. And you complain about people, you complain about everything, you complain about the weather, you complain about just everything. You don't want to be that kind of person, because you will drive people nuts. You will alienate people. You will drive people away from you if you are that kind of person who's always complaining. People want someone who would lift up their spirit and who will always have a word of encouragement. Someone who will always breathe fresh air of ideas. Someone who will always take initiative when no one else wants to stick out their necks because they might be cut. You're that kind of person who is daring, and you're that kind of person who has the spirit that is so gentle enough to encourage people when they feel downcast, rather than joining them and giving them reason to be depressed and downcast. You give them reason to be optimistic and to dream and to continue to stay focused. So I want to encourage you, quit complaining and get to work, get the result you want, and get the promotion you want today. Be blessed.